All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, Unleashing the Power of Epicor ERP for Manufacturing Excellence. I'm Ashley Limbers, the marketing lead here at Encompass Solutions, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator for this informational session. For those of you who might be new to Encompass Solutions, let me take a moment to introduce you to our company. Encompass Solutions is an Epicor Premier Partner for ERP solutions, and we support businesses of all sizes in the manufacturing industry. And our mission is to empower manufacturers with the tools and confidence needed to successfully tackle corporate and operational growth challenges. And with a team of dedicated experts like our speakers, Jeremy Miller and Lynn Gemper, we have been successfully helping companies implement ERP solutions tailored to their unique needs. And our commitment to excellence and customer satisfaction has earned us the trust of numerous clients, enabling them to achieve seamless data integration and drive sustainable growth. Now let's turn our attention to our speakers. Please join me in giving them a warm welcome. Our first speaker, Jeremy Miller, has over 17 years of technology sales and 13 of those years focused on manufacturing in the ERP space. He enjoys working with manufacturing companies to help them discover how new technology can help improve their efficiency and profitability. And our next speaker, Lynn Gemper, our customer account manager, has over 34 years of experience in the ERP space. In 2017, Lynn found her way to Encompass Solutions, where she has demonstrated her expertise in various roles, and her extensive experience and expertise makes Lynn an invaluable asset to our team. Today's webinar is being recorded, and a copy of the recording will be emailed to you. Remember, this webinar is designed to be interactive, and we encourage your active participation. Feel free to type your questions in the Zoom question box, and we'll address them during the Q&A session following the presentation. And there is also a survey for you to complete at the end of today's event. So now, without further ado, let's get started. Jeremy, over to you.
All right, thanks, Ashley, and thanks everybody for joining us. I do want to take a minute and just tell you a little bit about the partnership between Encompass Solutions and Epicor. At Encompass Solutions, we've been an Epicor manufacturing partner for over 20 years. So we specialize in the sale, implementation, and post-sale support of Epicor customers across multiple manufacturing verticals. And we work with manufacturing companies of all sizes to help them evaluate their ERP options, implement the Epicor Kinetic solution optimized to their company, and then we continue to walk alongside them as their company and the software needs potentially change in the future. So just a little bit of background on who we are. Pretty simple agenda today. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about what some of the typical manufacturing challenges are that we hear when talking with customers in the manufacturing space that are looking at ERP. We'll do a little bit of an ERP overview and talk about Epicor, some of the unique features and functions, and then we'll get into some client success stories and a time for you to ask some questions. And we're going to start out with a poll question. Turn it over to you, Ashley.
Yep, so our poll question is, and this is multiple choice, so do you face any of these manufacturing challenges? So complex supply chain management, inventory management, regulatory compliance, quality control, process efficiency and automation, data visibility and reporting, scalability and flexibility, CRM, technology integration, and managing trading partners. So these are some common manufacturing challenges. So if you have any of these challenges, please mark the boxes so we can see what our attendees are facing. We'll just go over the results in a few seconds. Jeremy, if you want to go over the result after, we'll wait another few seconds.
Sure.
And then I'll show those.
No problem. All right. So it looks like everybody mentioned inventory management. It looks like that was a very popular one. That was number one. And then a lot of complex supply chain, quality control, process efficiency, and data visibility. So yeah, a lot of different responses there, but looks like everybody found that they were experiencing some issues in each of these areas. So interesting poll. All right. Thanks for that, Ashley. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the common challenges that we hear when we talk with manufacturers that are looking for a new ERP system. And there's a lot of different reasons that manufacturing companies decide to evaluate ERP, whether there are issues in your current manufacturing or inventory process, and you need to implement your first ERP system, or you simply have a solution that you've outgrown. Companies come to us for all kinds of reasons. And from a process standpoint, what you see on the screen are some of the reasons that companies begin to have these conversations with us about change. But it almost always starts with some kind of feeling that there has to be a better way, that there must be a better way to handle this thing, this bottleneck, whatever it is. So if you're on this call today, maybe that's the reason, is that you're starting to have those feelings about your particular business. So the first one that we want to talk about is a complex supply chain management. And obviously, this thanks to the pandemic, supply chain is a big talking point nearly everywhere. And while supply chain has always been a big focus in manufacturing, it's not an exaggeration to say that today's supply chain is tighter and much more complex than ever. Any advantage that you can give yourself could mean the difference between losing and gaining customers. With Epicor Kinetic, we can help you by giving you real-time information, helping with demand planning and procurement, and with communication between you and your customers and suppliers. Epicor's supply chain capabilities give you all the tools you need to be able to make the best decisions for your company, or can even go as far as making some of those decisions for you, taking some of that off of your plate. The next one then is quality control. So once a product has arrived and it's time to manufacture, it's important, obviously, to make sure that you're sending out a quality product. You probably already have a quality control process in place. Most manufacturing companies do, but monitoring that process is what can really become cumbersome sometimes. If you're tracking things on spreadsheets or Word documents or what have you, difficult to find those things, difficult to follow up. Where do you save them? Who has access to them? There's all kinds of different things that can happen. So putting a monitoring option in place as part of your ERP system is something that becomes very important. Epicor has multiple quality control options that can help you with things like non-conformance, scrap, first article tracking, and really just bringing your entire quality control process under a single software solution. We can help you determine which solution is right for you today, and then what options might be important for you to consider in the future. The next one we'll talk about is contact management, building and maintaining strong customer relationships. Servicing your customer is obviously of huge importance. If your customers aren't happy, it's probably not going to be very long before it doesn't matter what your inventory levels look like, right? So in addition to helping you manage your production and your supply chain, an ERP system can help you manage how you are interacting with your customers. With a system like Epicor Kinetic, you can manage prospect and opportunity activity, create tasks to remind yourself or someone on your staff to follow up with a customer in a timely manner. You can view customer trends in orders and how you work with them. And ultimately, really just give yourself the ability to make better decisions about your customers and how to service them. Utilizing your ERP system as your contact management solution can go a long way toward improving your customer interaction. Having all that information in one place, being able to see all the orders, all of the different types of things that customers order from you, and have all of that information in one place is really a powerful tool. Next one is process efficiency and automation. And obviously, if you're on this call today, because maybe you're in a scenario where you've got QuickBooks and a bunch of spreadsheets or something like that, that's a lot of manual processes. That's a lot of manual entry that you're having to do. Obviously, automation is quite the buzzword here in 2023, and it can mean different things to different companies. When it comes to software, a manufacturing ERP solution like Epicor can help you eliminate manual processes that are inefficient and ultimately lead to increased costs. And Epicor does this by deploying out of the box workflow that utilizes industry best practices, but also giving you a technology tool set that allows you to tailor those processes to your unique business needs because everybody's got some type of special sauce out there in their company, right? We want to not only give you the ability to look at your overall business and manage by exception, but also give you the tools to allow the software to take some of these decisions off your plate. Like I mentioned earlier, let the software do some of the work for you so that you can focus on bringing other value to the business. Data visibility and reporting. And again, if you've got disparate systems, this is probably a big one for you. And I'll say that this is probably the number one thing that companies talk about when they begin looking for an ERP system. We have information everywhere and we just can't get to it, or we can't do anything good with it. We don't have a good way to use that information to pull reports. Or if we can pull reports, it takes us a half a day to write the report or something like that. If people are working off of these disparate systems and spreadsheets, you're just not working on the same version of the truth and you're not working with real time information. If an ERP system really does nothing else for you, it should at least put all of your information in one place and allow you to be able to report on it and make decisions on it in real time. And Epicor has always been on the cutting edge of reporting and analytics, reports, real-time dashboards, business activity queries, business process management. These buzzwords really describe what the true power of an ERP system can bring to a manufacturing company, taking all of that data that you already have and giving you a robust way to be able to report on it and analyze that data. All right, next up, scalability and flexibility, adapting to changes in business size, production lines, or market demands. We live in a world where nearly every bit of information and knowledge in the world is readily available just right in the palm of our hands, right? And with all of this information available, that makes things change rather quickly. So while you should certainly be considering what your needs are today while evaluating an ERP system, you'll also want to be thinking about what your needs might be 5 to 10 years down the road. And honestly, you should consider how you're going to handle change that no one could see coming. What if you suddenly need to sell the business? What if you purchase another business? What if your largest customer goes out of business? Or one that we all experienced recently, what if there's a global pandemic? I can tell you a lot of companies that were on the fence about moving to the cloud before the pandemic changed their tune rather quickly when they have suddenly had people working from home 5 days a week. But it's really just important to think about how technology is going to support and flex with you when those changes come. And the bottom line is Epicor Kinetic is a solution that can grow with you and change with you and flex with you. We have a tool set that allows you to tailor the solution to the unique way that you do business today and then shift when things change in the future. And the other part of this that's important from a scalability and flexibility standpoint is the company that you partner with that's implementing and servicing that. You need to have a company that's able to change with you and make suggestions along the way as your business changes. And when you work with a company like Encompass, we have over 20 years of experience, as mentioned earlier, with manufacturing companies. We're working with dozens of manufacturing companies every year, and we're on the cutting edge of what the industry trends are and where things are going in the marketplace. All right, next up, let's talk about technology integration. How do you have the ability to integrate different technologies into your ERP system? And the reality is, well, an ERP system like Epicor can do a lot of things for your business and can manage and help you report on a lot of information. ERP systems just don't do everything, right? We know that there are outside solutions that are going to be needed in every business. Epicor, from a technology standpoint, is flexible enough to be able to integrate with all kinds of outside software solutions. Today, we have existing integrations to systems like EDI software, CAD software, CRM software, nesting software has been a big one recently, and the list goes on and on. We even have the tools to be able to build integrations to proprietary databases if needed. If you have specific concerns about an integration or a tool that you're using in your business, we can usually find a solution that works for almost any system, and those are things that we'd be happy to talk with you about during the evaluation of the ERP system. All right, so let's just take a quick look at Epicor, overview of Epicor and sort of where Epicor plays. So Epicor is really purpose built for manufacturing, and that's an important differentiator, I think, when we're talking with manufacturing companies, right? There are a lot of ERP systems out there that sort of pretend to have this ability to be all things to all people. They work in all types of different industries, all types of different verticals. And what that basically means is that they just aren't excellent in manufacturing. Epicor, from the very beginning, was built for manufacturing. Our origins go back to the 70s when the owner of a job shop needed some quoting and estimating software, and everything kind of grew out of that. So, from the very beginning, Epicor Kinetic has been purpose built for manufacturing. It's all that Kinetic is built to do, and it's all that, from an Encompass standpoint, those are the only types of companies that we work with is in the manufacturing space. So that focus is very important. Speaking of focus, Epicor is focused on the mid-market. We don't try to be, work with the largest companies in the world. We really focused on the lower and mid-market to be able to work with companies in the manufacturing space to get them from that, whether it be that QuickBooks and spreadsheets environment onto their first ERP system, or whether they're ready to move up from an entry-level ERP system into a little bit more robust solution. Epicor's focus is on that mid-market, and we play very well in that space. And then, as we've talked about, Epicor is very focused on helping you create a robust supply chain management solution, and is very scalable and adaptable for how your business may change in the future. We've gone through some of the more common challenges that we end up hearing about when manufacturers are starting an ERP evaluation, but sometimes there are some pretty advanced needs as well. And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on any of the modules or functional areas, but I did want to at least give you an idea of some of the more advanced modules and functionality that Epicor does offer. We do have a couple of different flavors, I would say, of manufacturing execution system, whether it be a simple data collection of, starting jobs and logging out of jobs, or whether you need to go to a full MES type solution. Epicor can support that. As mentioned earlier, we do have advanced quality management and different tiers of quality that we can bring to your organization depending on what your needs happen to be. Advanced planning and scheduling. I know that that's very important to a lot of companies to make sure that they're keeping with capacity, and we have a lot of tools that can help in that particular area. Compliance and regulatory management. A lot of times you've got certain type of certifications that you're going for, or things like that. And what's really important with those type of certifications often is the reporting. How do you get information? How can you share that information appropriately? And an ERP system like Epicor can certainly help with that. We are multi-site, multi-company, multi-warehouse, multi-bin, multi-currency, multi-language. We can work with really almost anywhere in the world. And lastly, from the standpoint of deployment, Epicor offers both a cloud and on-premise option, so you have that choice as well. All right, let's go ahead and turn it over to Lynn. She's going to talk to us about some of our customer success stories.
Yeah, I have, like it was mentioned, have worked with customers for the last 30 years and several different ERP solutions. But with the Epicor and Encompass customers, I just had some highlights that would help kind of flashback to what Jeremy was talking about, how the flexibility and scalability of the software has worked for some of our customers, where they're using the integration, overcoming some of the challenges that come up when you're trying to implement and grow as a company. And Epicor as a customer or as a vendor has aligned itself with our customers' requirements. So over the years, we've had some very specific experiences. One of my customers, an industrial film company, they were one of the first customers to move from being on-premise to SaaS. When Epicor started leaning in that direction, they adopted that right away. They chose our Encompass and Trust EDI solution because that was something that became an edict from their customer. And they, as soon as the data collection option became Epicor Kinetic Warehouse, which is a wireless, the ability to scan wirelessly, they adopted that. So they are staying in step with what Epicor has been offering, and they're continuing to leverage Epicor and Encompass products as they move forward. Another customer that we work with is a fastener company that's been an Epicor customer for over 15 years. And so they started on a very old version of Epicor, but even before they adopted Epicor as their ERP, they were unable to do job costing accurately. So after going live on Epicor, they saw that their annual revenue decreased by 20%. But then they realized, because of being able to track everything, their sales profits increased 100%. So that made all the difference in the world. But being able to scale up, either scaling down how many employees they had or scaling up what they could do and take on with the jobs in the future. So with Epicor, they're able to earn more using fewer resources and in less time. And another final customer that I wanted to talk about is a new steel customer of ours. We've had them for a few years. They started out on a SaaS environment and have taken on some of the newer products, and the advanced unit of measure functionality is one of the products that they were really able to capitalize on, because when you're fabbing out large sheets of metal, you have drops, and at that time they were unable to track the inventory drops that happened. And so by being able to calculate out those units of measure, they were able to put some of those drops back into inventory and pull them out and use them for future jobs. And they also implemented a report writer called Spreadsheet Server, and it was able to simplify the report creation across the organization and allow visibility to both the financial and operational sides of their business. So we've got a litany of stories of different customers leveraging all of the technology and the functionality that Epicor provides. And I just thought that I'd mention those few.
Awesome. Thanks, Lynn. All right. I did want to mention that we do have a couple of options that you can use your QR code scanner today if you want to. We do have an Epicor Kinetic brochure talking about the latest release. That's the QR code on the left there. And if you're interested in talking with us to have a discovery call about what you're going through and what kind of changes you're thinking about making, get some feedback on what your potential options are, you can scan that QR code on the right, and we will schedule a discovery call with one of our salespeople to chat with you about what your options might be going forward. So we hope to hear from you on that. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley to go through any questions that we have.
Thank you, Jeremy and Lynn. We'll go ahead and take time for questions. Just a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the question box in your control panel. And it looks like we've already had a question come in. Lynn or Jeremy, when is a good time to make an ERP decision?
Oh, that's like the number one question, right? It's interesting. I don't know that there's a perfect answer to this. Some people will say that, you should do it when you're busy because busy people get things done. Other people might say that, it's important to do it when you maybe have a slow time of year or something like that. I actually had a conversation with the owner of a manufacturing company yesterday who told me that he thinks 2024 will be a good time to implement ERP because his experience in his business is that the business has been a little bit soft in election years in the past and then sort of takes off after the election. So he's planning to take the first part of 2024 and implement ERP software then, and then be ready when things get busy after the election. So I don't think that there's a perfect answer. I think what I can definitively say is you definitely do not want to wait too long. If there are situations where you've kind of been kicking this down the road and just sort of, putting band-aids in place and adding more spreadsheets and different types of systems and things like that, what ends up happening is you can get in a situation where you just get into trouble. If you have a system crash or something like that, that can be very difficult. So you want to do it before it's too late. Unfortunately, that's not a perfect answer. But when we've worked with companies that have had to scramble to go through that, it can be very difficult. So certainly sooner rather than later, if you think that a decision like this is on the horizon.
That's great. Looks like we had another question come in. What is the process of selecting an ERP product?
Well,
Yeah,
I've had that
go ahead, Liz.
question. Yeah, I've had that question asked a lot. And I think what the biggest thing you want to do is not ask too many or go out and evaluate too many different products. You want to keep it scaled down so that you don't have a whole lot of time involved in it, and you can have very specific questions answered by the right vendors and limit your time and effort toward that end, because there's a lot of ERP companies that do many of the same things. It'll start to get confusing. You won't know who said what in one particular evaluation. So I guess the KISS method, keep it simple as much as possible.
Yeah. I think too, like, actually, we did a webinar this past summer that I think we called it ERP Selection Masterclass. So if you get in touch with us, we can definitely share that with you. I kind of went through what the process typically looks like, but you're going to be talking with different vendors. I tell people, and this is obviously coming from a sales guy, but I tell people to engage with a salesperson from the companies that you're interested in, that you've narrowed it down to, as early as possible. There are a lot of things that somebody that's been in the industry for a long time can kind of help you navigate and work through. But realistically, I would say from a timing standpoint, you want to give yourself probably, I would say, 8 to 12 weeks to go through a full evaluation when you're talking about discovery and demonstrations and things like that. You want to make sure that you've got time to go through that. Make sure that you've got the right people on your team involved in the discussion. Sometimes there can be too many cooks in the kitchen, so you don't want to have everybody involved, but certainly executives, department heads, things like that are going to be impacted by the decision and the implementation. Those are people that you want to have involved as well. And then obviously people that you would envision being part of the implementation process. So there's a lot of different things that go into an evaluation and ultimately an implementation. And again, that's why partnering with the right company is important. And as I had mentioned earlier, we'd love to chat with you if that's the direction that you're thinking about going.
And there are consultants out there that we work closely with that specifically help clients with this. A manufacturing process consultant oftentimes will go in and help customers do evaluations like this. So, there's no specific right way to do it. It's just that you want to choose, again, the right partners to help you through this process.
That was a really good question. It looks like we had another question come in. Is Epicor a good tool to use for tracking employee work times on projects?
Yeah, I would say definitely yes. It depends. Nomenclature can be a little different if you're talking about projects or jobs. We handle both. But absolutely, we do have, as I mentioned, data collection solutions. So if you're talking about jobs out on the shop floor, that's a place for employees to go clock in for the day, grab a work queue to find out what jobs that they should be working on, log into those jobs. They can log into multiple jobs at a time if you wish, and then track their time in real time. When they've finished up, log out of that job. Then that cost goes directly into the WIP of that particular job. So yeah, absolutely, it is good for that. Even on the project management side, if you're looking at tracking things like engineering time and things like that, those are all things that can be tracked through Epicor's project management module.
Great, thank you. It looks like we have answered all of our questions. Jeremy and Lynn, is there anything else you wanted to cover before we go today?
No, I think I'm good. As I said, we just really, if this is a process that you're thinking about going through, we would love to chat with you. And if it ends up being a situation where Epicor isn't the best solution for you, we'll tell you that. We certainly don't want to be working in situations where we don't have a great fit. So we will always be honest if we don't have the best solution for you. But if it does turn out that Epicor would be a good option for you, we'd love to walk through that evaluation process with you and ultimately get you implemented successfully like we have so many other manufacturing companies.
And if you're not a manufacturer and you are a consultant, we have partnerships with many consultants and different organizations that we like to work with. And we've worked hand in hand on helping other customers, helping their customers find the right solution. So we are open to those conversations as well. And we really want to thank you for joining us. We know this went by quick. So if you have questions, feel free to call any one of us.
Yep, great. Thank you both. Yes, and you can contact us by emailing sales@encompass-inc.com or visit our website. Thank you, and we appreciate you being here. Join us for our next event this month as we discuss Epicor multi-site and multi-company. Please be on the lookout. You can also find that event on our website. And then next month, we will be doing a deep dive into Epicor financial planning and analysis. So stay tuned for that as well. And thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time.